Hello, welcome back to the IEM Oakland SEA qualifiers. Muddled that up a little bit, but that's all right. It's been a long day, Pilly, and a bit of a change of plans. We are not quite yet ready to go into the grand final of this bracket because Recca and MVP have gone one apiece, while obviously Chiefs and Mongols was 2-0 to the Mongols, which now leaves us with a bit of a predicament, as map number 3 is going to come up here between between Recca and MVP. But the solution to our problem is that we're just going to cast it anyway. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be looking at, and we'll see which of those two teams is going to go through and face up against the Mongols.
Yeah, honestly, couldn't be happier as a CS fan to watch both of these maps, both of these semi-finals rather, because they're both pretty spicy ones. I mean, it's a shame to miss out on one or the other, so it's good to get a little bit of both, to be honest.
Well, I was having a good time out the back watching both of them anyway, so well, now I get to cast one as well. Recca and MVP, I mean, at the moment it is one apiece. MVP did win on their first map, which was Inferno, and I have to imagine that was their own choice, and then Recca came back and won on map number 2, which was Cobblestone. Both of the maps were fairly close, but kind of closed out comfortably enough by the respective map chooser. And it kind of almost, to me, looked like on Cobblestone, just from what I was watching, that MVP were off to a good start, and it seemed like they might be in a position to actually close it out, and then Recca came away with a really, really good T side.
Yeah, perhaps it just sort of spun out of control there for MVP, despite having the good start. But you know what? Even in a best-of-3 series, in terms of form of a team, if one team is convincingly sort of, you know, in control of the map, and you know they sort of drop it by a very small margin, you'd be feeling a little bit better in terms of being MVP heading into the third map of the series against the other team. If the scores were sort of going your way, in general you're playing more well-rounded Counter-Strike, you're playing a little bit better overall than the other team, so over a larger sample size you should probably come out ahead.
Yeah, maybe. Moving on to Train, by the looks of things, as our final map here. I don't think that this is going to necessarily favour either team too heavily. Both teams seem to be fairly comfortable on the map, to be honest. It is one of MVP's more go-to maps, so maybe you could argue that might be a little bit better for them, but we've definitely seen Recca playing on that map before. Xcurate generally has a good time with Yorp playing over on the A-bomb site, so I think that this is a pretty even representation of where these teams are going to be for whichever team does end up winning this map. I think they both equally have a pretty good chance of finding this one, and so yeah, it's a good third map, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you would expect from a best-of-3 series, you know, the Train should be somewhere in the middle or upper parts of both teams' map pools if they're both willing to play it. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. I remember back to the grand finals of the first Zen League, I believe it was. I remember watching Recca playing this map, and that was back when they had Bentet, and even back then, you know, like, it wasn't just Bentet sort of contributing. I remember Frost Misty being pretty good on that inner bomb site. I think they were even playing MVP back then. Was that in that Zen grand final, weren't they?
What? Yeah, it was MVP.
Yeah, so it's a redo of that last map.
Yeah.
Yeah, without Bentet this time. But even so, Xcurate was playing pretty good with the AWP, like you said, and Frost Misty was pretty good on that inner bomb site. I feel like back then, MVP wasn't too sort of developed as a team. Lately, we've seen them come in leaps and bounds. They're getting better and better all the time, and they're constantly developing, bringing up HSK into the lineup. A bit of a combination of the two lineups that they did have back then. So if they have gotten better and better, we'll definitely see the result of that. As you know, Recca, arguably a bit of a impact losing Bentet back then in terms of skill and stuff like that. So all signs point to a much more competitive game than it was in the Zen Grand Final last time I saw these two play. Even on the map of Train, it was a bit of a whitewash, I believe, and especially on the T side, MVP PK didn't seem to have too much going for them. So let's see if they've come further, and Recca have definitely probably taken a little step back.
We can only hope that it is going to be a competitive game here. Recca did win the knife round, and they're moving over to start on the CT side, as one would likely have expected. Solo and Glow going for a little bit of a utility buy here. Smoke and a Molotov out for Solo. So I wonder what the idea is with these two here, because you don't always see two of the T players picking up utilities if they're just going for a standard T round. They must have something in mind.
Yeah, definitely. You could use those Molotovs to sort of segment off Ivy a little bit. You could use them in the post plant. Looks like they are going to go towards that Ivy area. Sis is going to be aggressive there, and he's going to be punished for it. They might not expect Excurate here, but jumping across does make it really hard for him to hit a shot. And HSK gets both of the entries, the new addition into the lineup, already proving his worth.
Good start for MVP PK. Rosie, though, having a bit of an interesting duel with Zeph there, who's just playing Ring Around the Rosie with himself up the top of the drop. But he does not really take too much damage for it. And now MVP PK really just have to deal with Frost Misty. What is Zeph doing? I have no idea why he's just playing with Rosie like that. In the end, though, Frost Misty does get absolutely wrecked by HSK, and Next Wind's kind of covered off by that smoke. HSK should probably go down here. Next Wind's not able to get a shot there, though. That was a little bit more difficult than I had anticipated it was going to be for him. But this is a great situation for MVP PK. I mean, you can't really lose from here on out in the pistol.
Especially when HSK is hitting headshots right and left. 4K for him in that pistol round. So great job by him to get MVP off onto the right start. And last time that the... Ooh, 5K actually. Easy peasy for him. And
did he get the bomb down as well? He's got 13 points.
I know.
Must have got the bomb down too.
Balling out of control.
Yeah, dude. Solo would have gotten an assist, but apart from that, it was all HSK. Good round from him to start things off. Full CZ buy, though, from Recca. Mate, it's practically a full buy now. Like, they've got full rifles. Just no utility.
Yeah. Let's see if they're able to put those CZs to work. They're going to have to get into closer ranges and perhaps try to get a duel with Solo, as he's got the...
Solo loves his SMGs. I was just commenting on it behind the scenes when you guys were casting before, but he even buys like an MP9 on full gun rounds. It's really weird. We'll have a look and see if that's actually going to come out here for MVP PK, but just not what I expected really at all.
It's going to throw a Molotov out onto inner, and that is actually going to keep 3 of the Recca players towards the inner bomb site here. They're going to go for a bit of a stack and commit really far up this train yard as Zeph goes through a bit of information off upper ramp. Bomb is here for MVP, but the rest of their team taking their sweet-ass time to get towards inners. Looks like they're going to group up now and actually hit the bomb site, and Zeph's going to take a little bit of a dink.
Yep, the first kill does go the way of Frost Misty, and actually a decent trade overall so far for Recca. 2 for 1. Next Wins is relatively low and will just get crushed there by Solo, but no one checks this, and he denies the bomb plant there for MVP PK. This is starting to look a little bit worrisome. Excurate now in a 1v1, but Zeph only on 19 HP after he takes damage off that fall. And Excurate definitely can win this duel. Although it seems as though the rotation is going to come across from Zeph over to the A bomb site. Let's see whether or not Excurate is going to read the situation. Doesn't seem as though he will, as he peeks down towards the bottom of the B site. Maybe looking for a gun here.
He has grabbed... Oh, no. Zeph's the one with the AK. So he's going to plant here. Full plant. See if he can get himself into a better position before Excurate gets too close. Maybe Excurate probably heard the footsteps of Zeph falling back into Olaf there, so he has a pretty good idea of where Zeph is, and he's just going to go straight for the hunt. He doesn't have time to go for the fake, as he doesn't have a kit. If Zeph doesn't peek, he's just going to lose the round, so it's going to be who sees who first.
Oh, it looks like Excurate should win this one here, and he does spot out Zeph. Great work from Excurate. And that's a force buy win from Recca. MVP dropping what would be considered a round that they should have probably won there. And so backwards and forwards it goes, even only after the first 2 rounds.
Unfortunately, MVP just not really reading that there was a stack there for Recca. That player at Coils was not checked effectively enough, and unfortunately after Zeph grabs that dink there, he can't really check that coil position, and he goes down, and the round really falls apart there from MVP, but they definitely didn't need to commit so heavily to a bomb site that had limited information, but they're going to go for a force. It was a 1v1, so money on Recca's not going to be too good, and we could go for a bit of a scrappy economic game. AK's dropped over onto Perry and HSK.
Yep. It is a very kind of a scrappy buy, though, for MVP as well. Like, there's 3 players with armor, 2 without, and the pistols as well coming out for a couple of them. It's definitely a better-looking buy for Recca than it is here for MVP PK, but we're going to need to see HSK and Perry probably being the key ones here for MVP. And that's kind of what... those are the 2 players that we were talking about at the start of today for MVP that we thought were going to be the key throughout today. They're both the players in pretty good form for MVP, and HSK obviously is given positions that enable him to really carry every now and then. then. And so if he can do this well in this round, then that could definitely open things up. But Perry has already been dropped. Frost Misty's found 3 with the FAMAS before going down over on the B site. HSK pushes forward, but he gets caught just in time by Rozyu. And the bomb is dropped in a woeful position there for Solo. So despite being able to get that 1v1, the chances of him actually winning this round are slim to none. And none is actually going to be the superior result for MVP there, as Recca do clean up the second round for themselves. That's good. It should be forcing MVP back to an eco round here.
Yeah, but despite picking up that round win, Recca do still lose 3 players. They retain 2 AKs, so that's pretty good for them. So maybe MVP, don't know how their money's looking. Probably not great. Obviously, they're not going to buy into this round, but they're not even going to grab P250s. And I don't know if I agree with that. Honestly, they're probably just looking for the plant onto inner so that they can guarantee themselves as good of a bomb, as good of a buy into the next round as they can get. But you can't really go too against the opportunity to strip guns from the side of Recca on such a bad economic time for them.
Yeah, and getting only an MP9 out of the way there for MVP is really not going to hurt the economy at all of Recca. Nextwinds was quite prepared to go down there as he takes the peak, and he even gets 2 kills for it as well. So probably not going to be too concerned by how things are proceeding at the moment. Recca, as the smoke does come across to allow MVP down that ramp, relatively unchallenged. They will have to deal with Frost Misty on the cross, and a little bit of damage goes out, but not too much. Glow actually manages to get the better of Frost Misty there, which will be an M4 in somebody's hands if they can grab it. Though it doesn't look like that's going to be an option now, as a couple of players do fall quickly for MVP. But MVP have done well there. They've gotten the bomb down, so it definitely could have been a worse round for them. And heading into the next one, their buy is going to be a little bit better as a result.
It's a fantastic result for them. Full Glock save there. They get 2 kills and they get the bomb down, which enables them to get all the utility that they want in the world. Not going to go for an AWP into this first round of train. Just going to get full utilities and as much as you could possibly want, apart from Zeph lacking 1 flashbang. So about as good as you can hope for in terms of MVP's economy, and Recca's economy not looking too great. 2 of their players broke, as they always did, lag behind on 2 players, sort of dropping to those ecos of the MVP side. So we'll see how this one plays out. MVP just spreading out all over the map. Just going to go for a slow default. Hopefully they don't take this too quickly and get too sloppy, especially around this Ivy area as Exurate's trained with the AWP.
Missing that shot. Very difficult one to hit though. Probably impossible to be honest, unless you're using some sort of superhuman reaction speed. He's just going to fall back off the angle, which is fair enough. They've kind of figured out the position of the AWP now, MVP, but where is it going to get them? As the smoke is sort of still sitting in Ivy. That incendiary does come out as well, and so utility's being used quite nicely by Recca so far to slow MVP down just a little bit. But Execute has more or less completely fallen off that angle, and MVP will take this opportunity now to begin the push forward.
It's going to be a great little Ivy split, 1 in SL, 1 in T-Con. They've got Recca surrounded on all sides, using their utility fantastically to take Ivy, and they're going to pour out onto this outer bomb site.
HSK gets the opening frag. Also a second one for him. Seems to be on point at the moment for MVP, as Glow also grabs a kill, and he gets a second one for himself too. So 2 for HSK, 2 for Glow, and now potentially 3 for Glow if Nextwinds does run into him, which he will. Good solid round out from MVP, not losing many guns. Only Solo goes down, and the money is starting to build up a little bit for MVP. But Recca, one would assume that their money is not in an amazing place. So it looks like it is just going to be a bit of a pistol armor buy for them in this round.
Textbook round coming out there from MVP. Couldn't have played it better. And in general, the way that this game's shaping up, we're looking in for a really good one. MVP putting in a fighting chance, just keeping the economy low on the ecos, getting the bomb plants that they need to get the utility that they need to execute their game plan. They took control of Ivy beautifully with those smokes and Molotovs, flashed off the angles and initiated that outer split through Ivy and T-Con SL. Just had Recca surrounded on all angles, and they're able to trade out. HSK as well, he's been so key getting beautiful entries, and that flashbang once again absolutely just neutralizing next, and Glow punishing Frost Misty for the lower ramp pick. So all the pieces falling into place here for MVP, and I'm really, really enjoying watching them play this train T-side.
So it's just creeping forward. Changing up his position a little bit on the B bomb site. He's actually pushing as well, and that's going to catch Solo off guard. Solo loses that duel, but the trade, of course, is quite easy. In the meanwhile, though, causing a bit of chaos in the side of MVP is Rozyu, and he gets out of there alive as well. So this has been a little bit of a crazy round, really. Execute's going to come around behind too, and he might get this one onto Zeph, but no. Perry is there to save him. But that, like how the Recca players there, it just seems like a very weird round coming out there from Recca. Still, MVP do come away with the victory. A fairly costly one, but they do manage to secure the AWP through, which is a bit of a bonus.
Yeah, definitely. And HSK has looked absolutely on point so far throughout this map. Let's see how he goes with the AWP up against Execute. Definitely one of the better AWPers in Asia. So nice little matchup coming in. MVP getting all the utility that they need to go into this game once again. Despite dropping a couple of rounds, they, might be deceiving. They are definitely in firm control of this game, and Recca, once again, their economy's struggling. Execute can't afford armor, and they don't have all the Molotovs that they need to stop any potential rushes from the MVP side.
Well, the rush is not really the choice here by MVP, as they are playing a little bit slower, but they certainly could rush out onto one of these bomb sites a little bit later on in the piece when they've gotten a bit more of an idea, a bit more of a gauge of where Recca is holding, and got some more information on what's happening on those bomb sites. Right now, though, MVP just setting up default. Not seeing too much just yet. Rosy's holding in drop. Top dog. No real utility used out there yet by MVP to get Rozyu out of this position, but it does look like they will be trying to get him out of there shortly.
They've locked him into the ladder and they're looking for the trade onto him. He's going to have to multi-frag here if he's going to do anything. Looks like MVP going to posture to set up for an outside take really late into this round. Solo there getting on top of the bin to set up a smoke for the rest of his team. Molotov going out there onto Sandwich. That's a nice one. Don't mind if I steal that one. Flash goes out onto Rozyu. He's completely blind. Can't even get glow, and they're going to execute with 30 seconds to go so beautifully.
Yep, this just gets absolutely demolished as well on top of the green train, and Next Wins is going to push forward here, see if maybe he can deny that bomb plant, but in fact he has to deal with Solo. Frost Misty was around there trying to deal with Glow as well, who was just being very not sneaky beaky. At least he thought he was, but he wasn't really. And so 2 versus 3 at the end of all of that fun. Perry goes down as well, but the trades are there. Frost Misty gets one as well. And it's a 1v1, but Zeph's in the perfect position here to really clutch this one out, though. His position is known, so he's kind of fallen back a little bit, just to make sure that he's not going to be caught out by Frost Misty. And it seems as though Frost Misty is just going to give up on this one. Back out. Save the AWP.
Seemed overly safe to play at the top of the ladder there from Zeph, but he seemed pretty confident that his opponent didn't have a kit, and obviously he didn't even hear him tap the bomb at all. So, I mean, could have potentially been risky if his opponent did maintain some kind of smoke, maybe a kit, get on the bomb, and it would really be counting down the seconds at that scenario, but almost sort of reading the mind of his opponent, knowing that wasn't possible scenario, and the only way that he could have lost that round was getting hunted down through the SL. He makes the perfect play.
Alright, well, Execute at least has got an AWP in his hands, so that could be a thorn in the side of MVP, but MVP quite confident. They know that the buy is not amazing from Recca here, so they've already filtered quite quickly out onto the A bomb site. A 1-for-1 overall so far, but Execute is now down. That's the gun out of the hands of Recca, unless somebody else is able to pick it up, but the bomb down straight away for MVP PK, and the round is progressing perhaps a little bit too quickly for Recca. They're not too keen on how this is going, as they probably should not be, as it's now just a 1 versus 4. Frost Misty left alone up here in heaven. May be able to clean up Zeph, who's relatively low, but overall, that's probably the best that's going to happen for him. His position is given away, drops down the ladder, and Solo is waiting with open arms. 5 and 3 now, MVP PK, and they are really starting to get this ball rolling on the T side.
Yeah, I would really actually look at taking a pause if I was over on the side of Recca at this point. The MVP side, the economy's been pretty back and forth, but like honestly, after winning that force buy on the side of Recca, there is like they haven't really got too much to win this game so far. I mean, MVP's in complete control. They've won a couple of gun rounds in a row. They're going to flash onto the outside and just split out once again. A couple of players towards inner here, so maybe a little bit faster of a play, but the smoke comes out onto lower ramp, so they're going to slow it down again.
That seems to be the way that MVP likes to play. Slow and steady.
Might be a bit different in this round though. They do have 4 quickly out onto the inside, so perhaps indicating a change of pace here.
Still that lurk as well from Solo, and when we saw him doing that the other night in Zen League, he was having a pretty good time of it. Next wins, misses the shot, oh, misses the second as well, need to be hitting these. Finally manages to connect one, and I'm surprised that he didn't go down actually after whiffing so many shots, but still, overall, HSK is not missing any with that AWP. Excurate takes the duel against Solo, but he wins that one and might even win this one against Sis. He's slowed down though. Actually does get dropped. But overall, it's still going to be a round 1 here by MVP, which is then going to be 5 in a row. Plus, of course, that pistol that MVP did win. I reckon need to do something a little bit more on this CT side. It's time for them to maybe start making some plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And not looking on point in terms of the individual game or in terms of how cohesive they're playing. And on the opposing side of the map, the complete opposite out of their opponents. MVP looking like a fine-tuned machine, and individually speaking, they're playing pretty damn well. Not that they really need it.
Not at the moment, though. Maybe in the next match, if they do get there. The Mongols did cause a bit of a headache for MVP PK earlier on this week in the Zen League. Perry, though, gets the kill onto Execute. Frost Misty goes for something a little aggressive. Does also get punished for his troubles. Perry seems to be having a pretty good game on those entries when he's just jumping up on the blue train. Overall, though, the trades are definitely working for MVP. As I say that, a couple go the way of Recca, but still, Sis in a 1v2. They know his position, and he's tagged down to 16 HP. Nothing really to work with here, as the bomb will rotate all the way over to B and get planted by Glow.
So, might be time for a pause here for Recca. Just buy up, talk about what's happening and how MVP is sort of playing. Maybe go for some disruptive plays. They're going to go for the double AWP, so let's see if they're going to take one of those to upper ramp, maybe one of them aggressive Ivy, because what they're doing isn't really working. They're not doing very much to disrupt the plans of MVP, and you know, I feel like when you're playing a team like MVP that's, you know, very tactically based, you're going to need to sort of throw a spanner in the works, do something to disrupt what they're doing earlier in the round, because if you keep letting them walk all over you and execute exactly what they want to do, they've got themselves pretty organized, and that's going to be pretty hard to beat once you let it happen.
MVP, a bit of a change up this round now, heading towards the A site more so than the B site. Again, trying to get some control over an Ivy. This time not really being challenged too much by Recca. We have seen Extra watching that line in the past, but he's fallen off it a little bit more so this time. And he's playing a little bit more of a passive angle, just doing a bit of a moonwalk through the smoke there to cross back further. As Recca have read the situation that MVP do want to make their way into the A bomb site. And again, it's Solo on his own, going for a bit of an adventure around through, well, at the moment he's in T-spawn. Probably just going to come into A main late when all the focus is diverted and see if he can get something done with that lurk. Zeph, I don't even know if maybe he got got Glow killed there by firing at the ground. Glow seemed to be like looking back to see if there was someone shooting at him, but Perry does manage to trade out Sis. Rosyu, though, great work from up in heaven. Gets a 2-for-0 for himself. And Solo, I think he's the key here. They don't really know that he's here right now. Misty gets spotted out, and the deep does manage to connect onto Zeph. It's a really bad situation now for Zeph, because next one's just watching the angle. Solo needs to make a play.
Absolutely, and 3 versus 2 situation. That MVP side, they're just running out of time. Rosy's got himself tucked up in the heaven, nice and tight. 1 in CT connector, the same. Solo's going to try and go for the plant, safe from heaven, so they're not going to be able to stop this, and they're going to have to go for the retake. Zeph actually gets one, and Solo punishes one as well. Frost Misty's left all on his own, and let's see if he anticipates Zeph playing here. He has. So it is down to a 1v1, and Frost Misty's got himself a kit.
Solo's so far away from that bomb right now. If Frost Misty just stuck this bomb, he probably would have actually pulled it off. But Solo, banking on the fact that there's not going to be a stuck defuse by Frost Misty, is playing it a little bit slower. And it seems as though he's going to get the timing pretty nicely onto Frost Misty there. But yeah, that was actually nicely played in that 2v3 from MVP. I thought for sure Zeph should have gone down though without getting a frag, because they knew exactly where he was.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, at that point in the round, when the clock's really running down and you're in a 3 versus 2, when your opponent goes for the bomb plant, you can really afford to send someone out just to sort of try and stop the plant.
Yeah.
In some scenarios. But they don't really do that. They let them have the plant, and MVP tucks themselves in pretty nice positions, and it was all over from that point. The teamwork just superior out of MVP. Recca not really communicating effectively enough, and despite Recca making actually a really nice adjustment, as MVP did go for a similar sort of Ivy play with a little twist on it. Recca just opted to play complete retake Ivy, and it works so beautifully for them, but they just lost the 3v2 that they put themselves in after such a nice adjustment. And unfortunately, Excurate's lost that duel as he's trying to 1v1 HSK with a FAMAS against an AWP. Doesn't work out well for him. No utility left at all on the Recca side, and they're going to have to play 2 on each bomb site, so they're completely at the mercy of whatever PK wants to do to them.
And that's not a good situation at all for Recca, because MVP have been the better side in this first half so far, and if Recca's going to continue to give advantage to MVP PK, then they're going to keep taking those advantages and turning them into more and more round wins. On the map of Train, most would consider it's a bit more CT-sided than T-sided, but so far it seems, at least if you're MVP, it is a bit T-sided compared to Recca's CT side. They're not really being challenged all that much. I mean, 3 rounds for Recca. This one probably could go to 9 now for MVP PK. You just feel as though Recca's not done enough at all on their CT side. They needed to be getting at least 8, maybe even 9, but that's too far gone now. The best they can hope for is 7. And I think even that is going to be quite difficult for them to achieve. 3 versus 3 now, though, as the bomb is going to be planted on the A site from MVP. Decent post plants for them, though, with the exception of Solo, who's kind of stuck in no man's land and will get taken down, but HSK has gotten the damage done in the meanwhile. It's a 1v2, and Frost Misty again going to have to try and clutch this one out.
Actually does get the dink onto HSK there, but he's going to have to force both of these players to peek. He's got no kit. HSK goes for the information, and he's going to reel it. Zeph playing above the ladder once again. Zeph comes down the ladder and just goes for a bit of a shoulder, and Frost Misty hops off the bomb. Zeph knows he's definitely not on at this point, and Frost is going to have to save that weapon. See if Zeph tries to stop him. No, he's just going to let him have the M4. And honestly, Recca didn't play that late round too badly, as Zeph does retain the ult for HSK, but you know, Sis was in a pretty good position in that sandwich. He played it very patiently. He waited for his teammates to rotate, and Recca did rotate not too badly. Rosu got the 1-for-1, but giving away that advantage like you highlighted in the middle of that round, you know, they were able to trade down numbers, and that's what ended up leaving the 1 versus 1 Zeph just having superior information, superior positioning, and, you know, everything going for him. He was able to close that one out, and Recca's going to finally go for this tactical pause. Yeah. But honestly, you know, you get 1.5 in this format. Maybe they should have taken this a little bit earlier instead of letting MVP sort of run away with it. And now their economy's looking pretty sad, to be honest.
You think it's too little too late?
I think it is, because economically speaking, they have, you know, been struggling for money. They've only got about $3,000. They're going to have to get FAMAS armor, a couple of utils. They're not going to be able to make every adjustment and do every little thing that they could possibly have in their playbook, because they're not going to have the money for the AWPs. They're not going to have, you know, money for the Molotovs that they might need to take a bit of map control. So I think they've left it a little bit too late to take the tactical pause and try to get the last 3 rounds. Honestly, they should have taken it a little bit earlier.
2 rounds ago, maybe?
Yeah, not let MVP run away with the half.
Yeah, MVP more or less has already run away with the half, but there's still a chance that MVP can even continue to push more and more on this first half, and you just end up in a situation where when you get into the second half, no matter really what Recca does, it just feels like they're not going to have enough time, they're not going to have enough rounds to play with, and MVP sooner or later is going to get that 1 or 2 rounds that they need to actually close out the map, and then obviously knock Recca out of the IEM Oakland SEA qualifiers and go through to face the Mongols. I mean, for either of these teams facing the Mongols, I think is going to be, going into it, probably an advantage. I think Mongols on paper looks a little bit weaker than both MVP and Recca. But then again, Mongols has in the past shown that they can challenge these two teams and they looked fairly decent today against the Chiefs. So maybe they've shown up, and maybe we'll have a surprising victory.
I mean, you never know what you're going to get with Mongols. It's a different team playing every day, so
Yeah.
sometimes they'll just roll out, sometimes they'll have some struggles. On the opposite side of the coin, a team like MVP always puts up a pretty good fight, I would say, unless they just, the other team comes out swinging and has a fantastic individual game. MVP, at least they have a game plan and they try to stick to it and do the best that they can with that. HSK going for the wall bang. Could have sworn he would have hit one of those.
Yeah, look close, but not going to connect. And again, the same problem persists for Recca as what we've seen in the majority of their rounds here on the CT side, is that they can get guns, they can get serviceable weaponry through, but they just don't have enough money for the utilities. So maybe even a double eco at one point wouldn't have been the worst of ideas for Recca. Just fully save, get a proper buy actually in. But I think it's obviously too little too late right now. If they use double eco here, it'd be like 11-3 or whatever. So it's just too far gone for Recca. They needed to do it way earlier in this half, and I think that's kind of just the story of this map so far. Everything that Recca's tried to do has just been a little bit too late. The tactical pause, we said, a bit too late. Best case scenario, they can turn it into 6 and 9, which is like, on your CT side, are you going to be happy to get away with only 6 rounds? Definitely not.
Absolutely, and I mean, MVP's sort of had a little bit of a hypothetical think about what Recca might do in this round. They go, how much money they got? They've probably got umps and a couple of pistols. They'll probably take T-Con off us. Let's give it to them and hit inners. It's worked out beautifully for them.
Yeah, Glow does go down, but that gives away next win's position, and Zeph is quite easily able to trade that frag out. Execute has pushed onto the B site though relatively quickly and manages to get one for himself, but it's 3 versus 3 as the retake does start to push forward. 2 key positionings in this round. So for Recca, Rosu coming around through the brown halls might have spotted out HSK, but HSK spots out Rosu, and that other important player was Perry, rotating around through T-Spawn, or CT Spawn. Now 2v1 as the duels do go the way of MVP. As I say that though, Execute is able to get one, and now he's on the bomb. Perry's got 15 HP. Looks like Execute does not have time. Gets the kill though, but still an expensive round for the CTs, and they lose regardless.
Yeah. Loose Frost does enough for an AWP in this round if they want to take one. Looks like they will grab at least one, maybe 2. No, just 1 on this occasion. 10-3 for MVP, looking for that juicy 12-3 half. HSK having a great game, 17-8. The rest of them just contributing across the board, which is what you expect. No one really lagging behind on the side of Recca. No one really stepping up, and the scoreline reflects that.
Pretty key round here for Recca. If they do lose another one, it's just going to be game over, really, for them. MVP PK, if they get to 12, well, that would be just incredible. Frost Misty, bit of a weird play out from him, dropping down into SL. Will find a couple of frags. MVP certainly were not expecting that one, but overall the trades are not that awful. It's 2 versus 3. It's still winnable here for MVP PK. They have a lot of time to play with. And HSK could just be the danger man. He has been the danger man throughout the past, I suppose, few weeks really here for MVP. What's he going to be able to find with that AWP? Not to mention the fact that Solo is the other one alive. I mean, he's been another one today that's been really performing quite well. So I'm not counting MVP out just yet. Next wins does go down. And Solo is going to find Sis shortly. Or Sis will find him. No trade there from HSK. Little unfortunate for MVP.
MVP being great in these, 2v3s, but unfortunately Sis in a bit of a stranger position. Excurate,
oh, no.
What is that from HSK? He gets the insta-bink on Excurate in the CT connector and sprays both of them down with the Tech 9. That's just one of those scenarios where you just have your crosshair in the right place at the right time, and you click mouse 1, Elfish Guy, you just hit that mouse 1 button.
Oh, look, it's so easy, man. I could do it as well. Recca, though, they're not so easy for them at the moment. Again, their money is lacking. Their utilities are a bit short. Though they do have enough, I suppose, to play with. A few smokes, a couple of incendiaries. MVP, though, do they decide to just go quickly again? They have been fairly quick into that A-bomb site in the last couple of rounds, but no, heading over towards the brown halls.
spreading out, taking map control. MVP's not going to grab Ivy this time. They're going to opt to head fairly passively, watching the aggression on Ivy, or potential aggression from Recca. Holding control of that T connector as Recca has taken it off of them once or twice in the last couple of rounds, and they're just going to take inners again. Keep their options open of what they may or may not want to do. Molotov coming out towards Sandwich again, and they're actually going to fall out. Execute's going to hear this though, so along with the aggressive positioning in the SL, they might have a pretty good idea of what MVP is going to do, or they would like to think that they do. Unfortunately, MVP is all walking back to the outer bomb site, and Recca still has 2 on inners, so they don't have too much of an idea of what's going on. They're actually going to fall back onto the bomb site. With 50 seconds to go, they're going to make MVP really work for this map control with their utility and just say, you know what? They're actually going to stack inside. Not really a risk that they necessarily needed to take, especially with these forward positions, and they probably will opt to, personally, if I'd seen someone coming back from the brown halls into the T connector, I probably would have rotated off inner by now, but they're going to stick to their guns. 25 seconds to go as the execute comes in, and they're trying to run back onto the bomb site with enough time to go, but it might be a little bit too late.
Perry gets the trade there for Rozu, and Execute also does just get demolished again by HSK with that Tech 9. It's been so good so far today. This is in a great spot, but only able to get 1 frag from there as the bomb will also go down now for MVP, and the trades just coming backwards and forwards, and we find ourselves at a 2 versus 2 solos in a great spot though. Frost Misty doesn't check him, it's a 1-for-1. And now Zeph, 3 HP, up against Sis, 22. This incendiary will be enough, but no, it won't. Zeph gets the kill just in time before he dies to that molly. 12-3 for MVP after the first half. We'll see how it goes in the second half, just after this.
Game, record, and stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Back into the second half. MVP PK excellent in the first half. If they pick up the pistol around here, it's probably going to be all said and done for Recca in these IEM Oakland qualifiers. But perhaps they have something more to show us on their own T side. Moving over to the more difficult side though, many would imagine. It's not going to be an easy task. The B site, well and truly taken though by Recca. MVP look like they're going to go for a bit more of a post-plant retake kind of a situation. A couple of kills go their way, but Glow, Perry, both down to 1 and 3 HP respectively. Not a very easy task here for Recca. Somebody is going to need to hit a very nice headshot just to equalize this a little bit more in the favor of MVP, because at the moment you still feel as though Recca might be favorable with those Glocks, although Sis checking the angle at the wrong time. HSK walks out with his knife out for some reason. The trades are there for MVP, and that's the advantage of having a player advantage, as MVP do secure the bomb and the retake. 13-3. Recca now really just hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, really, they probably have to force into this round and try to do their best to get back into this game. Looks like they're going to save and give MVP this anti-eco, as well as the fifth. I mean, you'd usually go for the double save, although they did get the bomb down, so they'll probably give them the 14th round and then try to get back in there with the AKs. But they have absolutely no margin for error, and that's unfortunately the case when you lose the pistol and go down 12-3.
Yep. Very unfortunate situation, really, for Recca. They would have wanted to post a little bit of a better scoreline so far on train, but it's not necessarily over just yet. Glow, though, spotting out a lot of those Ts. Decides actually not to throw the incendiary, and instead is going to farm some damage with his MP9. Unfortunately, he will go down with only a 1-for-1 trade, which allows the bomb to be planted here by Recca. No, it doesn't, because I thought the bomb was the guy on the bomb train, which it wasn't. It was the guy in ramp. And so the bomb does not go down for Recca. Still, they'll buy into this round after getting the bomb down in the pistol. But MVP 14-3. It's basically the last chance now for Recca. They can't afford to lose any more rounds.
And only 2 of their you know, players have very much utility to speak of. The rest just AK armor and flash. We'll see what's going to happen in this round. MVP not really fully upgrading to sort of deal with any of this. They're going to stick with a couple of the weaker weapons, but that's all right because they have plenty of options and opportunities to potentially lose a couple of rounds here and there. Glow just playing solo on the inner bomb site. He is going to hear a couple of footsteps and call for his best friend HSK to rotate in through the connector and hold up the lower ramp there. And he's just going to play an off angle on this upper ramp, really slow crawl towards inners here from Recca. Looks like they're going to go for a bit of an inner hit fairly quickly, and Frost checks Glow. So a good start here for Recca, but only one of many picks that they need.
HSK on a close angle is also going to be checked by Rozu. That's pretty much the B side shut down right now for MVP. And again, Solo. He's got that MP9 here. I just don't get it. I do not get it. I mean, maybe saved it through from last round, but he just always seems to have it in gun rounds. It's just weird. Must be some sort of a comfort weapon, really. Not that it matters. Don't think it would have helped whatever gun he had in this one. MVP well and truly losing control of that B site before they could really do anything about it. So Recca will hang on, for the moment at least. Solo goes down as well. But that was a bit of a bonus round, really, for MVP, so they should just be able to buy into next round anyway.
Yeah, and it's good that Recca didn't lose. Never mind. They
AK.
maintain most of their players being alive. Perry doesn't quite upgrade onto that AK, so that's something good for Recca. And they had quite a clean round there, very convincing play out onto the inners, but a bit of a scissors, paper, rock round, as I like to say. They did go for the inners, you know, contact play. They checked the right angle, got the kill, and went straight into the inner bomb site, 5-on-1, so the other three players still stuck outside. There wasn't much they could do, and MVP is going to be forced to actually save here, or not really forced, but probably a good decision, all things considered here, because you know they don't really need to force the issue. They got plenty of rounds to play with. They're just going to let the loss bonus pile up for them and make sure that they have plenty of money to work with going forward into this game.
Well, maybe something is on the cards here for Recca, for MVP, because no one from Recca is watching behind, and Solo is lurking around. He's going to spot Excurate. Might get Sis as well. That's a huge play from Solo, and it's going to pretty much deny the bomb as well from Recca, because he can cover that off too. All of a sudden, Recca just capitulating in this round. A bit of an anti-eco or an anti-force by the looks of things more so. Well, it's not really either of them, is it? But regardless, MVP is winning the round. Frost Misty needs to come up with something very big for Recca here if he's going to keep them alive, but somehow I just don't feel like it's going to happen.
Probably not, and I can't believe that round went the way of Recca, went the way of MVP so quickly, you know? 3 versus 1 out of nowhere, and they didn't even have armor on most of their players. They were going for the save, and that's all they really needed, just being in good positions. Frost trying to work his way out uppers here, and Perry's in quite a good position to check him. Unfortunately, he just looks away at the wrong time. But at least they now know where Frost is, and they should have a pretty good idea of where the bomb's located in this 2v1.
Yep, Glow gets a bit of damage across, but no kills. Should be forced out, but Frost Misty not watching the cross. And in the meanwhile, Solo has rotated through to upper. Won't spot out, but Glow will, and it's 15-4. Recca, their economy is going to be a bit shattered here as well. Sis can get an AK. Rozu can get an AK. X-Wins doesn't seem to be able to afford one. No utilities out for Sis. So, yeah, that's about as good as they're going to get. A couple of Deagles, a few AKs, some utilities smattered across the roster there.
It's the best that they can hope for, and it's what they're going to need. I mean, going to need to get a couple deke headshots, maybe a lucky set of positions, and good strategy to take this round out against the full buy here from MVP. HSK's got himself an AWP. A couple of utilities kind of wasted over there towards the Ivy position, and there is 3 Recca players heading towards there, so Recca may be taking a bit of a play out of the MVP book, saying, you know what, these guys wrecked us with the Ivy split on outside, let's give it a go.
Not sure that it's going to work so easily for Recca. To be honest, MVP waiting and watching that line. The smoke does come out though, but Solo is holding very close by. Flashbang out from him just to maybe slow things down a bit for Recca. Give them the idea that there's presence there from MVP. but it is just solo. And the smoke. In the meanwhile, HSK gets one onto Frost Misty. The smoke dissipates. Now Solo rotates his position just across a little bit. Excurate not checking it properly. And a 1-for-1 does go the way of a Recca as we see a couple of trades going in their direction as well. MVP now on the rotation across. Perry, though, key in this situation. What can he find? The bomb does go down for Recca. He spots out the player. That's a great shot from him as well. But Perry's on 20 HP and he will get traded out himself.
Well, up to Glow in this 1-on-2, and both of the Recca players in pretty good positions to defend this both bomb plant. He's going to have to tap it, hope one of them picks him. He doesn't tap it though. He's going to go for a little bit of a walkabout around this green train, see if he can find Roziu, I think it is, but Roziu is too smart for that. Ducks into the sandwich as Glow takes a look for him. Glow going to check out Ivy and just checked all the wrong angles at just the wrong times, and he's not even going to give himself a chance to win this round. So Recca grabs another one with only sort of a scrappy buy there, but better than not winning the round in this scenario.
Yeah, certainly. MVP though, what is their money at after that one? I can't imagine it's going to be amazing. Yeah, a few of them can't buy. Looks like it's just pistols, judging by the depletion of the dollars.
Yeah, look, they're still going to keep having to save it out, but that's not really a problem when you have a 10-round lead at this point. They should be heading towards that full loss bonus. If Recca continues to stack up rounds, and they're going to get themselves more and more money.
HSK gets one, pushes through, doesn't actually spot out Excurate, who was just hiding behind the dumpster. And Excurate, nice couple of quick frags for him, does kind of stabilize the round there for Recca after it was looking a little bit dangerous perhaps. Perry playing in his favorite position up on the blue train. Just going to back off, but Sis might be in trouble here. Perry does spot him out, but no luck for Perry. Another kill goes the way of MVP. Very backwards and forwards, and Glow is pushing with the AK. He's going to hear the noises being made, and Zeph is ready for Excurate. Wonder where the bomb goes here. Does he go all the way around to B?
Possibly an option, although, well, it's all going to be predicated on what Sis does. He's going to sit under the ladder, so they're going to choose to go for the outside. Zeph's actually got armor and a Molotov, and Glow's got a kit, so they've got a pretty good chance of winning this round, especially with this position here from Glow, but he's not going to quite catch Next heading towards the Hell area, so Next actually catches him on the transition, pushing up on that train yard, and that's going to allow Recca to probably take this round out fairly easily. Not sure what Zeph was doing on inners there. Maybe he thought it wasn't in as a hit, but he is mistaken, and he's going to walk right into Sis here.
15 and 6, Recca wins another round. How much longer can they make this persist though before they do eventually get overrun by MVP PK? Now remember, that was more or less an eco round out from MVP. It's going to probably be another one here, although Glow is investing in, so looks like it's going to be a buy, or as much of a full buy as MVP can get. They've got good utilities across the board, but the UMP does make it look a little bit weaker than it could be. You'd definitely love to see in this situation HSK with an AWP. But it's winnable still for MVP. They have plenty of chances, plenty of opportunities. And even if they do lose this one, then there's 8 more rounds where that came from.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at this point, MVP might even be thinking, you know, let's just try to get this game out of the way. We've got a grand final coming up, and we'd rather not slug it out for another 10 rounds and have to face off against Mongols who've been having a little bit of a nap. Waiting for them to come out of the other side of the bracket. Man,
I could go for a nap right now. I reckon that'd be the dream. If I was Mongols, if I was myself. Zeph smokes himself off though.
If you were anyone, really?
Yeah, if I was anyone, nap would be. Look, naps are great.
Yeah. Molotov going out into SL. They're not really working too well as Zeph manages to maintain control of that. 2 people playing inside here for MVP. And not really sure where Recca's going to go. Bomb still sitting above SL, and their players are spread out all over the place. The bomb might actually get caught here in SL, so that would be a nightmare scenario for Recca. But we'll see what Zeph's able to do here, being the key player for Recca, although for MVP rather. Although Recca looks like they're posturing to head towards that inner bomb site.
Solo has already been dropped, as well as Excurate. Perry needs to be the power player here for Recca, and he's going to get one. Also spots out Frost Misty, backed up well by Glow, who also is going to be dropped by Sis, but now HSK has a chance, and does not manage to convert it, as Sis wins the aim duel. 7 on the board now for Recca. Another one goes in their favor. Another one that MVP is going to let slip. Slowly but surely, Recca is climbing their way back. I don't know if they're going to be able to climb their way all the way into it, though. Just, it's too many rounds. Eventually, one of these rounds has to go the way of MVP.
For sure, and you know what? MVP might have been a little bit too eager going for that half buy. HSK only had the UMP.
Yeah.
You know, they had plenty of util. It wasn't too bad of a buy, but especially a team like MVP, I've seen them favour the double AWP, might be a little bit more in their comfort zone. Maybe that's what they should have saved for.
Well, perhaps they can go for it, not in this coming round, but the round after that. Although, it is going to be the buy out from MVP PK. And HSK at least does have an AWP in his hands. No one else is going to be able to afford one. But the utilities coming across are pretty decent. A little bit lacking there on Solo and HSK, but HSK with the AWP, you can kind of understand that. So, Solo does actually manage to find a couple more. Now it suddenly looks like quite a good buy actually out from MVP.
Yep, bought everything pretty much, apart from just kits, except for Glow. All 5 of the MVP players not looking too bad in terms of monies. And they're going to grab SL control again. And should be in pretty aggressive positions here to really fight Recca if they try to take control of anything. Roziu getting caught out by Solo playing on top of the server there. Molotov coming out to prevent any sort of aggressive peek from him. So Recca not getting any control of Ivy, getting completely denied by MVP. MVP can be pretty sure that they're not going to be pushing there. Molotov not working as Zeph throws himself a one-way in SL. He's not going to quite use it just yet though. And Recca not really in any positions to do anything with a minute to go. Looks like they're going to go for a late outers hit.
Bit of a rotation backwards and forwards from Recca, but they are setting up now with those smokes. Don't have too many to waste, so they want to make this one work. Perry gets the first frag, or in fact the second, since Zeph was able to find one as well. This is not looking good now for Recca. But as I say that, a couple of kills go their way. Glow just charging through the fire here. He's burning alive and does get dropped, but it's still a 1v2. Excurate will go down, and finally MVP do close out the third map, 16 and 8. That means Recca is now knocked out of the IEM Oakland qualifiers, and MVP goes through to the grand final to face up against Mongols for that one spot.
Don't mind that MVP Mongols grand final personally. It's kind of like the, you know what's going to happen, the Shaw SETI MVP going up against the sporadic Mongols. Should be an interesting series.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting dynamic between those two teams. We will see how it does end up going. First though, we will head to a quick break, but our grand final is coming up very shortly.